Hello. It's been a while. And if you're wondering what happened, it's this. I got into a motorcycle accident. I'm fine. I broke a few bones, namely this one, the pinky toe, and the worst being my right shoulder scapula. And so the last 2 months have had me recovering from a screw getting drilled in, I guess right here. A lot of things have happened with Apple in the intervening time, and when I crashed, I was in the middle of making this video. The Apple Vision Pro is one of the most anticipated and biggest launches in the company's history. And yet, in the months of my recovery, people have largely gone silent on it. And I know exactly why. It's because despite it feeling amazing, it only takes less than an hour for reality to set in. This thing doesn't do anything. This headset is probably the most first-generation Apple product they have ever made. It's well designed, but you'll know it'll soon be better. But there are frustrating limitations that you don't know will be addressed or not. What I can see is how Apple has laid a foundation for their mixed reality headset. They focus solely on questions of how will the interface look like and how will you interact with it. And it's in these areas where the Vision Pro excels. The feeling. Controllers? Ugh, you got controllers right here. It's remarkable how Apple can make pinching my fingers together feel like such a physical action in the interface. It feels like my hands themselves are actually controlling things so much that I end up trying to pinch with my hands under my arms, forgetting that the headset can't see them.
We have to do it one more time.
I actually got my friend's toddler to try a Vision Pro, and I have to say kids pick up on these interactions fast, though his little head was too small for the eye tracking to stay accurate.
But how do I grab those two guys?
It's not just pinching. I also love walking up to the interface and controlling things that way too. It's funny to command these giant windows by waving one's hand like they're at a whiteboard. Now we are in the theater, so you really get a chance to feel like Steve Jobs. I'm on a stage to do a presentation. This is also how the keyboard works too, though you won't be typing very fast because this interaction method only recognizes your index finger. And the keys look like buttons. And look at the inner drop shadow on the text fields. There's dimension and window chrome. visionOS is just so beautiful. It's so much more serious than the cartoony blue vibes I get from Meta's offerings. Ugh, God, they're awful. The pass-through too. This really feels like real life. Okay, real life through a cell phone camera. And if you want to leave real life, simply twist the digital crown and you're taken to beautifully recreated scenic outlooks. With birds chirping and clouds moving, this really is a refreshing take on the desktop wallpaper. These environments are probably my favorite thing about the headset. They're beautiful, peaceful, and really take you out of the messy, real world. The only things you'll actually see in here are your own hands and other people looking at you. There are no phones or exploring to be had here. No matter, because play any video content and you've got a giant screen to enjoy it on, especially when you play anything from Apple TV Plus, as it reflects beautifully on Trillium Lake near Mount Hood. And because this is a 3D display system, 3D movies look really cool, whether from Disney or your iPhone 15 Pro. Ow, 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 ow. As you might have heard, the Vision Pro is heavy. It pushes almost 1.5 pounds. Now, considering everything this contains, I have no problem lugging the battery pack in my back pocket. Battery life is around 2 hours, which is short, but that's twice the amount of time I can handle in this thing. While I recover, let me tell you about this video's sponsor, War Thunder. It's a free-to-play military vehicle game that emphasizes realistic damage. They've got historically accurate versions of everything. Light tanks, heavy tanks, tank destroyers, air combat, fleets, and barges. With thousands to choose from, you can engage in exactly the way you want. And despite what you might think, they've been on macOS for a decade, and hopefully visionOS in the future? Start playing for free on Mac, PC, or the console of your choice by clicking the link below and claiming your bonus pack. Now for the weird. This is what my persona looks like. I don't think this was taken in the best light, and I got a haircut since then, so I'm gonna do a rescan, see what we get. These look best if everyone is using their persona in a call, since comparison is the thief of joy. And these are definitely in the uncanny valley, but in a funny way. Eyesight is funny too. My friends say I look like Dr. Carroll from Perfect Dark, albeit with a whole body attached.
Come on! I have vital information!
Do I look like a dork with this on? Did you know that for less than the price of this Vision Pro, I got laser eye surgery? And it's a good thing too, because if you wear glasses, you need to order special corrective lenses from Apple when you order the Vision Pro. Even with those inserts, the optics aren't perfect. I've been reading Carl Guttag's analysis of the screens and optics of the Vision Pro online, and he demonstrates that the optics and contrast are worse in the Vision Pro than the Quest 3. And I can kind of see what he means. Despite Apple using the sharpest OLED panels on the market, there is still a softness in here. It's amazing for the environments and the movies you play in them, but when it comes to computer work, the trade-offs start to bubble up. App windows are really big. If you resize Safari to fit a web page, it becomes very large, and bringing it closer to you doesn't make it any more compact. This is because if it was smaller, it would be noticeably blurrier. This is exacerbated when you're using the virtual display with your Mac, which I've been having trouble connecting on this Vision Pro if I'm logged into someone else's user account. Once connected, the small text and interface elements of the 5K output will make you think that something's wrong with your new laser eye surgery. The clarity size issue is really demonstrated by the fact that the Vision Pro Teams app, for instance, cannot be sized smaller than the MacBook screen. And this is weird too, because I'd hoped that the Vision Pro's mixed reality concept would let me spread my windows and computing beyond a screen. But I'm quickly running out of space, and this narrow field of view isn't helping. Apple has not used the Retina branding anywhere on this Vision Pro, and I'm sure they're saving it for the future. Let me be clear, this is amazing hardware for the technology we have right now, but it's quite interesting how far away and how hard getting it right is. The headset needs to be lighter for comfort. The screens need atomic pixels for clarity, and the computer needs to be powerful and efficient to run all that. The Vision Pro isn't all those, but Apple is known for pushing towards precisely those aims. So what about the elephant in the room? The reason why I say you should just try this, well, is because you'll instantly find out there's nothing to do. The Vision Pro is as empty as the environments it puts you in. It's not that you can't do anything in it. It's just that, like the iPad, it's another audio-visual consumption device. Apple built Vision OS off the iPad, and I don't agree with that decision. You can see a through line to the Vision Pro from features added to iPad OS over the past few years, like Stage Manager window resizing and the mouse cursor button behavior. Developer willing, iPad apps do work on the Vision Pro, though not perfectly. UI elements get hidden, and the expectation of multi-touch makes the eye tracking feel bad. It's not just in iPad apps either, because navigating some websites is a real pain, especially if they're designed for desktop. All the weird things that make the iPad annoying are kind of magnified here, right in front of your eyes. It makes me wonder how different things would be if the Vision Pro was based off macOS. Imagine how useful a proper file system and fully established library of professional apps that you could spread out into space would be. Game developers too could more easily port the already made VR games to the platform and maybe distribute it through Steam? It's clear after using this that a Mac Vision Pro would be much harder to make. The screens would have to be even clearer and the eye tracking more precise. But it's a vision I can see clearly, and it's the one I'm waiting for. The Vision Pro's biggest weakness is the restrictive nature of the exclusive App Store model and the lockdown nature of Apple's mobile operating systems. It's so impenetrable that it doesn't even have a USB-C port, for God's sake. That's a $300 dongle for developers, by the way. I am impressed with the technology in here. I love being transported to new worlds, but I can't stop thinking about all the things I can't do on here that I can do on a MetaQuest, albeit frustratingly. Why did this turn off? Is the battery dead already? Unlike the removal of the headphone jack, it's taken real courage for Apple to develop and release this headset. But the irony here is that Apple and their locked App Store model could ultimately be the ones that compromise the Vision Pro. This is too niche to be locked down. Everyone needed a phone when the iPhone came out, but no one needs this. So getting developers on board to make the next great game or application is a really tall order. This is a huge step forward in the headset space, but man, is it ever hard. Thanks for waiting for this MAC address. I'm curious in the comments below how you would use a Vision Pro if you had one. And if you want to check out a video we did, you can see the one where I interviewed a few people who bought one, and I'm sure they'd like to know too.